Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of sideways price action in the market. Bitcoin hovering around 27,000 and Ethereum still hovering around that $1,600 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much a mix of red and green, some dips, some rallies. However, guys, should we be prepared for volatility to the downside or even to the upside? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has been very popular in the last little while, and that project is called Taraxa. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. Welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects that you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below or hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. All right, guys, if you want to also check out that Discord, guys, it's a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and all that good stuff. All right, let's begin. Bitcoin going sideways still. Could Bitcoin get another leg to the upside? And if it does, guys, we could expect that a lot of these altcoins will follow Bitcoin's lead. Ethereum going sideways as well, pretty much in a nice tight range. We can see those those highs and those lows. Not very strong movement to the upside, not much volatility in one direction. So for me, sideways price action is a bit scary. That chop area for me, not really interested in Ethereum right now. BNB looking a little weak, you gotta admit, rolling over ever so slightly. XRP climbing to the upside, only 1.2%, but the rest of the market you can kind of see is pretty stagnant here, guys. We got the FOMC data out. The interest rates got paused. This is what a lot of us, 99% of the population, believed that we were going to get a pause in the rate hike. And I feel like ultimately that idea was already priced into the markets. This is why we're not getting much of a reaction. In fact, I would say this could have been a sell the news type of event. We're getting a bit of a negative reaction slightly after the news. Maybe a lot of people anticipated that this would happen, and that's why they started scaling up in their positions, going long, and that could be the reason why we saw Bitcoin swell up in the last little while. Now that the news is out, now that the expectation was fulfilled, the likelihood is that people are going to be like, well, what's going to keep on propping up the price? Probably nothing at this point. So maybe I'll take a bit of profit. Maybe in the short term we could see a further continuation to the downside. So we're going to be very protective of our gains, of course, our initial investments, our capital, obviously. But at the end of the day, we're looking for volatility. We want to get in at the bottom and sell the highs and make those gains. So let's continue here to see if we can track any possible setups here that could make us a great entry. But of course, guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover, feel free to join the live stream tonight at 7:30 Eastern. It would be a great place and time to make those requests. So let's continue going down here. Solana looking pretty good, 1.6% to the upside, slowly grinding up, but this sideways price action, without much strength or a sense of urgency to the upside, even with regards to momentum, leads me to believe this could be just like a Bart Simpson retracement at any moment now. So be careful here. Toncoin, the same thing, look a little top heavy, double top, triple top, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of resistance there and finally getting a rounded top rollover type of thing. It does look like the inverse cup and handle type of scenario here. And for me, that doesn't look very nice. Down approximately 6.5%. But given that Toncoin's been on a tear for the last little while, a healthy retracement is due. Definitely. There's nothing wrong with seeing Toncoin retrace a little bit. So expect a bit of a rollover, a back test, and maybe being able to scale in at lower levels. If you're interested in building a position on Toncoin, you might get that opportunity very soon. Litecoin pulling back. Look at that little bit of a dip here, back to range lows more or less. Still a higher low, so not too bad. Matic showing strength, still hanging out there, maybe preparing for that rollover. Chainlink, the same thing, higher highs, higher lows, of course, but within a little bit of a tight trend or consolidation to the upside. Not really interested there. Pull back on OKB. Guys, the SEC is coming at decentralized exchanges next. We're going to talk about that live tonight. I have a little bit of a theory. I know where this industry needs to go, but I'm wondering which project is going to take us there. And of course, if we find any projects that are finding solutions to this overall scenario that, you know, maybe the DEXs need to become fully decentralized, because there's a layer of centralization. Guys, we're going to be looking actively for that project when it does come out, and that would be a really good gainer. So of course, we'll talk about this live tonight. Feel free to join. H-bar going sideways, Filecoin going sideways throughout the market. Lots of it going sideways. Maker getting a nice little rally up, breaking out of 5.6%, looking pretty strong there. Optimism sideways, lots of sideways throughout the market, guys. Okay, so you can scroll through, you can see that there's no real movement, very volatile, like the volatility is very stagnant. You know, there's not much trading happening right now. The volume is very low. So for me, overall, this is like, you know, just hang back and start preparing for accumulation. Look at Rune coming down approximately 6%, guys. That's definitely an opportunity in the works, because it definitely could come back down to lower levels, a lot lower levels. So be careful with Rune. We know that when Rune moves, it does move, but it also includes moves to the downside. So we got to anticipate, we got to prepare for sure. Flow looking strong. Sideways. KuCoin still looking strong, but that hang time right now, look at that, rolling over right at the top there, maybe getting a bit of a quick pullback. If there's a bit of a volume gap below this consolidation that we are in, you can expect that that would be a weak spot where we could see a nice retracement to the downside. So pay attention to that volume profile. What else do we got here? Hyobi getting a bit of a bounce, Casper Network getting a bit of a retracement out of that double top type of scenario. Guys, retracements are definitely in the works. BTT coming down, quick spike to the downside, and the list continues. Guys, overall, you got to admit this price action right here is not really convincing, right? We're not getting a clear direction. Very choppy, very sideways, and rough. It's on hard mode, definitely. Guys, sometimes no trade is the right trade. And of course, get in, get out, quickly take those profits, because the market's going to want to take them, you know, out of your wallet for sure. And at the end of the day, we're here to make some gains. So be prepared, get defensive when it is necessary. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Of course, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin as a leading indicator, and then we're going to talk about the project for today, which is Taraxa. Tara is the ticker, T-A-R-A. All right, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin, at the end of the day, we did discover that we were getting that bearish divergence, and it's better seen on the daily and higher time frames. This bullish divergence, bullish divergence, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the RSI, just basically means that we're getting a class A bullish divergence. But the question is, are we going to get a continuation up, or are we going to get a pullback? Let's take a look at this in more detail. We definitely see that we are respecting this horizontal, which is pretty much the top of the volume gap. Right above it, we get a lot of resistance, a lot more volume here that could act as resistance. We came to that zone before, we got a quick rejection, and it's very likely that, you know, we might do that. The only issue that I have right now is on the daily, we'd have a bit of room left for an upside continuation with regards to momentum. So that's the chance that you're taking. If your conviction right now is to go short, it has to be on lower time frames, and you're going to have to get in and get out. Don't keep it too long there, because the daily right now is showing us that it's very possible to see this momentum get fully reset in overbought scenarios. If it does get overbought here on the RSI, meaning right back into the zone, getting overbought basically means that we are going to continue to the upside based on the daily. But it doesn't mean that the intraday price action based on the 4-hour can't get a bit of a back test and give us an opportunity to either to go short on the 4-hour, better yet, buy the dip and go long upon a 4-hour full reset to oversold conditions. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at. Of course, we're going to look at the 4-hour to see if we can get a better entry, because right now on the daily, a fresh long is a bit dangerous, right? And going short is a bit dangerous. So it's almost like, you know what? Don't do anything. No trade is probably the best trade right here. The only thing that I can see, and I'm going to leave it out there, is that we do have a bit of weakness right above it. A bit of a volume gap without much resistance, straight up, straight down price action based on the previous price action right here, which means that there's very little resistance to hold it down if it does decide to get to those higher levels. But I question, why didn't it break out here? Why didn't it continue to the higher levels with this impulse to the upside? Maybe the bulls didn't have enough strength to actually break to the upside even further. But we did come down. Did we pick up some bulls at this level? Maybe. But look, we're getting a bit of resistance, which is a sign of weakness at the end of the day. So I'm a bit, confused. Let's put it this way. The indicators are not giving me a clear direction. They're not giving me a concise thesis So better yet, just hang back. Let's take a look in the 4-hour. You can see the bearish divergence that we've been identifying for the last little while. You know, a bit of a confirmation on this divergence for sure on the 4-hour. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI. The MACD showing a bit of weakness. EMA's curling over with red histogram bars to the downside. Probability is on the 4-hour that we get a bit of a dip. It's just about probability. Yes, we do have the 4-hour EMA, the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour acting as potential support if we do come down, and we have other EMAs like even the 50 and the 200. Okay, so something to consider here is that we do roll over, and I'm questioning whether we're going to get a reactive move based on these EMAs here, because some people, some traders, they do use the EMAs as indicators. Okay, so that's something to consider. Always put yourself in others' shoes, especially in the opposite direction. In this case, I'm talking bearish. Get into a bullish stance just to get to the mindset of the bulls. The bulls right now potentially got in at this level as a breakout. Maybe they're looking for a breakout move to the upside. Anyway, could we get, you know, a bit of a dip down and get those bulls wrecked in the meantime and get a long squeeze type of thing, right? So this is something that could happen. We are definitely overbought here on the 4-hour, and the MACD, like I mentioned, is not looking the greatest. So if you're getting into a short, put a tight stop loss right above previous highs, and that way you can mitigate risk if we do plan on continue going to the upside, and then expect a bit of a dip. And I would be taking profits right around the zone, which is at about 25,670, because below it there's a gap, and that's where the bulls are going to want to hold up and respect this and protect it as much as possible. Look left of this price action. So in short, what I feel like is that Bitcoin on the 4-hour could be taking a bit of a dip, and then we got to see how that daily performs, and if we get a continuation to the upside, and maybe break to about 28,900, give or take. Okay, so overall, we see that this FOMC, basically the interest rate news didn't really cause any. To be honest, I feel like these interest rate meetings are not causing any volatility, because a lot of people are getting very desensitized. I know I really don't even care anymore about these news events, to be honest, like I did in the past. And also, I believe that since the conviction was that 99% of the people of the population believed that we were going to hold steady, I believe that the price action already priced it in. I think that that idea that we weren't going to get any price hikes or interest rate hikes was already priced in. Now maybe that it's already done, the news is already out there. What else are we looking forward to? What else are we bullish on? Well, maybe nothing, and maybe we do get that retracement to come down to lower levels. Okay, so we're going to take a look. We're going to keep an eye on Bitcoin, of course, guys, and let's jump right into the Taraxa chart. All right, let's begin. We basically perfect area, in my opinion. This is a great area for a bit of a DCA accumulation strategy. Okay, we're in a very, very good zone. We hit great horizontal support. We're creating a nice W. Price action is creating a higher low, which is very nice to see. You can see that right here. I'll zoom in just a little bit to emphasize, you know, what's happening here with this price action. A nice higher low with a nice little follow through. The bullish divergence that we can see here on the 4-hour is beautiful. Let's get on the daily for a second to get what is happening on the daily. We're taking a bit of a chance here that this could fall even further. We're in the chop zone on the 50 EMA. You can see that, the 50% zone on the RSI is in the chop zone, which means that at the end of the day, we could go sideways for a little bit. Okay, so that's something to be concerned with. We see a nice bullish divergence on the MACD. Guys, I would be scaling in just in case and putting a stop loss right under here, to be honest. Although, one big rule that I do have is wait for oversold conditions. Well, guys, we're holding nice levels of support. We're potentially getting a nice bullish divergence right here. Let's see this bottom, that bottom high. Not really, but we could get a nice little impulsive move to the upside and potentially come right back to previous highs. So the risk that you're taking is this. This is the reality going long on the daily, is that the momentum gets into oversold conditions. It finally breaks down and gets here. If that happens, guys, I'm looking at much lower levels, potentially the 886, potentially down to about 0.002. And we do have the 200 EMA, the daily EMA, hanging out here at about 0.003. So something to consider is that if we do break down, we can get into oversold conditions really quickly, and obviously a stop loss would be blessed at that. A very tight stop loss would be blessed right at this zone. Okay, right below the previous low. Now, I know it's very difficult here to trade the daily, but a spot position, even an accumulation strategy to DCA here is not bad. Okay, it's not bad of an idea. Why? Because at the end of the day, you didn't buy the tops, guys. Let's be real. We bought a decent retracement, and you're accumulating in a project that supposedly you're supposed to be fundamentally bullish on. So a nice retracement, a nice discount is always welcomed, and I would assume that you're going to be DCAing and leaving and preserving some capital to buy the dips at lower levels at future dates if we do retrace, coming down to potential the 886, which is a nice deep retracement. Now, if you continue looking down at this price action, you can see the majority of the volume is way lower than even the 886. We're looking at a deep retracement. The only reason why I look at the 886 is because we have a previous high here, which could act as support, which is likely, right? Looking likely that it acts as support. We have the 886. We have even the 200 daily very, very close by, because we can, wick right below it, get a bit of price action below it, and then bounce right above it and respect it, which happens all the time. Okay, so something to consider as well. So we're building our conviction here. We're building our thesis, and then ultimately what you're going to have to do is say, you know what, I built enough data here to suggest, you know what, I'm comfortable going long. And what are the reasons and what are the conditions? What do I have to do to protect myself to make this strategy work out in my favor? Okay, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a winning trade. What it means that you want to get into a trade with as least risk as possible. You want to mitigate your risk as much as possible. So you identify the risk. The risk is that we do drop based on the momentum. The risk is that we do drop based on the support that we have below. That is a lot stronger than where we are right now, to be honest. And the risk of not going long right now is that we're getting a nice bullish divergence on the MACD, and you might be missing out on a nice pump to the upside, which in my opinion, a safe zone to expect a pump would be right around this zone at about 0.0075 at this level, because we do have these tops here that, if we break above, we're going to make it a higher high, which, guys, not the greatest scenario, because we made a lower low, and imagine making a lower high, because we already got one lower high. So lower highs, lower lows, the trend is your friend to the downside. The likelihood is that we don't make that higher high and we continue coming down. But we could definitely make a nice trade to the upside, given if you get your entry right around here and you exit right around this zone. Perfect. Maybe front run it a little bit. You're looking at 60%, even be modest, 50%. Walk away with those gains. Those are great gains. However, keeping the daily risk involved, guys, it's a bit risky. I would suggest getting into the 4 hour. Okay, that for me is the best. When you're in the chop zone and you're building some indications of support and it's not really showing you everything you need, get into lower time frames to see if you find some confluence. Guys, we left the oversold conditions here on the 4 hour. Very, very nice scenario here. Upward sloping momentum nicely. The MACD is doing a very similar thing. Let's zoom in here and kind of see what's happening with the MACD. EMA is facing up. Green histogram bars to the upside. I'm loving it. Okay, this is great on the 4 hour. And guess what? We're at horizontal support. We are potentially getting this nice bullish divergence right here on these two bottoms, still intact both on the RSI and the MACD, so looking really nice. At the end of the day, guys, if you're going to take a bit of risk, you're going to have to be prepared to get in and get out. And like I mentioned, put a stop loss right underneath these lows, expect a bit of a pop to the upside, and I would be taking profits right around here. Trade setup wise, let's see what that looks like. Long position right around here. If you can get in as tight as possible, as close as possible to invalidation, which your invalidation is below previous low, and your TPs should be right around this area. Okay, don't front run it. Don't be greedy. Don't try to get the absolute tops. What you really want to do is front run as best as you can, even taking a bit of profit here, taking a bit of profit right up here. More or less what you're looking at is a 5-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio, maybe down at this zone. Yes, which is still very healthy, 5-to-1 even at this zone, which is at about 60% gains. Now let's zoom in just a little bit, right? Because your entry has to be great. This was a DCA opportunity. This was a DCA opportunity right now. If you DCA'd both into these green zones, these green arrows, right now you've built yourself a little decent position. Average cost is absolutely like where we are right now, pretty much, right? Right in the middle. So even if you get in right now is not a bad scenario, right? So you want to mitigate your risk as much as possible. If you get in right now, your actual position cost is going to be right around here, and your risk starts to increase. You're taking about 13.5% risk against your trade. You could lose approximately 13% of your position stopping out at these lows. So that's something that you're going to have to accept, that you're taking a bit of a chance. It might be a little bit more than your risk profile. So you're going to have to understand that if you want, you could DCA if it does come down, to improve your entry as best as you can. Okay, so obviously position size is key. Get in with a small amount according to your risk profile. Be prepared to lose a potential trade of about 13%, give or take, but look at your reward. You're talking about 50 to 60%, depending on when we get that full reset here on the 4-hour to overbought conditions. That's when I would be ready to protect my gains. And the daily, like I mentioned, you got to be in and you got to be out, because there's no guarantee that this daily is going to roll up to the upside and get again overbought. It might keep on coming down in the short term and get oversold. And if that were to be the case, you want to have that stop loss right quick to stop you out. Even though you might lose about 12% of your position, you want to make sure that 12% doesn't contribute too much, and you want to be able to mitigate your risk. No more, you shouldn't be risking no more than 3% of your entire bag, or at the end of the day, your entire portfolio. 2 to 3%, maximum 3%, but on your position 12%, if you get what I mean. Okay, so overall we're doing okay here. Taraxa's retraced significantly. I'm bullish on fundamentally on Taraxa. If you missed out on my deep dive, go check it out. It's still very, very relevant. Go check it out if you're interested in the project, you want to know a little bit about it. I release deep dives every Sunday on Taraxa. I know it's somewhere here, right here, the deep dive about a month ago, but still it's very, very relevant. Go check it out. It talks about the team, the fundamentals, the value propositions, all the things you want to know about Taraxa before you buy the dip. So go check it out. Overall, guys, great project, good retracement, healthy level of support, DCA opportunity for sure, trading opportunity only on the 4-hour. And build that conviction and build that thesis so that you can get in and get out profitable. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, do the channel a huge favor, slap that like button. Don't forget, I'm live at 7:30 tonight. I'll see you then, of course. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests. Join the Discord, guys. It's a great community, lots of good setups, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.